Now, the scholars were afraid of speaking in God's name. They didn't want to talk about Allah without knowledge. Allah said if Allah didn't say. There's a mutawatir hadith where the Prophet ﷺ said, whoever deliberately lies against me, man kadhiba alayya muta'ammidan, فَلْيَتَبَوَّعَ مَقْعَدُهُ إِلَى النَّارِ فِي النَّارِ. Whoever lies against me deliberately, let him know that he has prepared for himself a seat in hell. It has over 100 chains of narrators. So, Mujtahid Imams therefore were very afraid of saying Allah said or the Prophet said if they are not certain. So when it came to Allah said, they wanted to be certain that Allah said. If somebody said the Prophet said, they wanted to be certain. Didn't want probably, speculative, maybe. No, they wanted certainty. In a number of areas. In authenticity, they wanted certainty. In the meaning, they wanted certainty. They wanted to be sure something was authentic. And so when it came from the Quran, all madhabs had no problem. When it came from the Sunnah, they distinguished, as we've already said. Sunnah mutawatir, they treat similar to the Quran, as giving absolute certainty, ilm al-yaqeen. Sunnah ahad, we've already discussed the differences. The Hanafi and the Maliki would differ, the Shafi and the Hanbalis would give ahad hadith more strength. Though you would see how they differ when it comes to issues of ibadah, or whether an ahad hadith can abrogate the Quran, or whether like in the Hanafi, an ahad hadith can't even specify the Quran. It can't even do takhsis for the Quran. So because the Quranic verse, this is in the Hanafi view, because the Quran says, فَقْرَأُوا مَا تَيَسَّرُوا مِنَ الْقُرْآنِ, read whatever you find easy, that's in Salat, from the Quran, even though there are Sahih hadith that say you must recite Fatiha, because the Quran says, read what you find easy, they look at Quran as being like a bulldozer. Yeah, nothing comes close to the Quran. And if it's an ahad hadith, which is probabilistic, it doesn't give yaqeen, they take it, you know what, we will not take that hadith. Yeah. So for the Hanafi, if you do salat and you don't recite Fatiha, your salat is fine. Yeah. For the Malikis, the Amal of Medina. From the Amal of Medina, saying Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim was not a part of Fatiha when it came to Salat. So if you said Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, the Malikis actually considered it makruh. Makruh. But the Shafis would consider without Bismillah, your Salat is not accepted, because your Fatiha is not complete. So for the sake of peace and unity, the greater maqasid of unity of the Ummah, the Malikis decided, even though they consider it makruh, they will recite Bismillah. Why? So that they can continue praying with the Shafis. And the Hanafis would recite Fatiha. Why? So that we can continue praying with the Maliki, Shafi and the Hanbali. So we'll come later to where even on the usul level, on the formulae, they would disagree, but because of the greater maqasid of unity, even though one school would consider this as bid'ah, because they considered unity a greater emphasis, something that was more greatly emphasized clearly by the Quran, they would agree on a greater good, even though they disagreed on a minor issue. So, the authenticity would determine how certain they were. So they were certain of Quran, certain of mutawatir hadith. They differed when it came to sunnah, ahad, single or few chained. Meaning, when you say the Quran says this, what does it mean? When the sunnah says something, what does it mean? When the Quran says, cut the hand of the thief, what do you mean by thief? Your child stole your pen. He stole 100 ringgits. Is that a thief? Somebody stole your laptop because you left it in your car, open windows. Is that a thief? Is a person who picked your pocket a thief? If he stole food, is he a thief? What does the Quran mean? The Prophet ﷺ says, anybody who kills, the killer cannot inherit from the person who killed. Who's the killer? The person who actually went and killed the person, or the one who paid the killer? Or are they all killers? So there's a whole field in the meanings, adillatul alfaz, the whole area of what is the meaning you get, the implications of the text of the Quran or the Sunnah. It's a whole subject area. But with all the differences, they conclude on two things. When you look at all the verses of the Quran on a particular topic, or all the hadith on a particular topic, is it qat'i, clear, explicit meaning, like alcohol is haram? However you want to read the verses of the Quran and the hadith, when you put it all together, there is only one meaning. It is haram. So where the meaning is only one, and they are absolutely certain that's the meaning, then they are comfortable to speak in God's name. This is what Allah said, and this is what Allah meant. And the Sunnah helps them in that. Or this is what the Prophet said, and this is what he meant. But where it could mean this, it could mean something else, the scholars became careful. Why? Because what we want is, what did the Prophet mean, not what you think he meant, when he could have meant 2 or 3 things. Yeah. Where it could mean this, it could mean that, then the scholars agreed to disagree agreeably. It became a legitimate difference of opinion.